Hi guys, welcome back.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
What's up?
Yvette's still with us. I love it. I love like starting the episode and like having like all four of us together. It really does something special for my heart. I know I sound so cheesy when I say that, but like I just absolutely love it. And Yvette, you don't know this, but like a couple people who started listening for a little while when you weren't on were like, we needed to go back and listen to older episodes because we wanted to know like how you guys met Yvette and like everything like that. Yeah. So it was like actually really cool to like see how that was. So it's pretty cool. And I'm very proud of us for getting the ability to record together so many weeks in a row. And that's really you because your schedule is harder. Like you have to stay up later in order to get to record with us. So I just want to like thank you for really making the time to do this because it's not easy for you. It's 11 o'clock at night when Yvette records with us guys. So she's really like, it's like a sacrifice in my opinion. So thanks, Yvette.
It's a pleasure though. It's amazing. And hi guys to the new ones. Like welcome home actually.
Yeah, welcome home. That's been a while since we've done that.
That's true.
Yeah. And I think that also fits with the topic this week because we were thinking about the topic and we were thinking of like the difference between expectations and anticipation. And like not that expectation isn't a good thing because it really can be, but we were thinking of it in the context of like when we have to do something just because we have to do it, as opposed to when we are excited and we can't wait to do it.
So is it more of like going through the motions?
Oh, well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I like it.
Yeah. I think we're like expected to be certain people. I mean, I feel like it relates to a lot of the last episode, like expected to be all those titles. I know one part of the episode when you're like, I'm expected to be this kind of mother. I'm expected to be this kind of daughter. I'm expected to be this kind of teacher. And then it just becomes that checklist of all of the tasks that we're supposed to do rather than really like letting the joy like infiltrate those things. You know, not everything is going to be filled with joy, but we can like create that joy in it. And my take on it for expectations, like I immediately thought of myself when I was younger. I used to be so afraid to have hope because I was so afraid of being disappointed. So I would always have this thing where like, okay, I'm not going to expect it to happen. I can remember even being like, in school and being like, I'm not going to expect to get a good grade on this in case I don't. Because but if it does happen, then it's that much more elevated and I'll be that much more happier. But it was just false joy. It was false happiness, I think, or false like satisfaction from it.
That's almost like an expectation. It's almost like refusing hope or like being afraid to hope, because if you do hope for something, then if, like you said, if it doesn't happen, it's just a letdown. And I think that is something that a lot of people experience. I don't know who said it recently. I don't know if it was Deacon Marty at the prayer meeting maybe, but somebody said, don't be afraid to hope. Like, don't be afraid to hope for something because as the Bible says, hope doesn't disappoint. But I think the fear is disappointment and discouragement. Like, it's like almost like you hear a little whisper in your ear, like, don't hope for this, don't expect this, because when it doesn't happen, you're just going to be sad.
Don't let your hopes get too high. That's the saying, I feel like, all the time. It's almost like, I feel like sometimes as kids, we would get a sense of like what we might be getting for Christmas. And it's almost like, you know, oh, I'm going to get this phone, I'm going to get this, I'm going to get that. I'm so excited. And then there's something in you that's kind of like, well, don't get your hopes too high. You don't know if you're actually going to get it.
Wow, that's a great analogy.
It's so simple.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm just thinking of a Christmas pile of like a pile of Christmas gifts and like hoping that the one gift you really wanted is in there. And it's almost like then you forget about the rest of the good that came, you know, you forget about like, it's like, oh, I got all of these amazing things, but I didn't get that one thing. So now all of these are not as good, you know, then it's like you miss out again on the joy of things.
Yeah. And like what you said, reminds me a lot to like our relationship with Jesus and God. Like a lot of people like at the end or sometimes in the bad moments or what they consider like bad moments, they run away from their hope or their faith in God because they are putting this expectation on him of doing what they want or what they expect him to do. So when he doesn't do it in the way that you expect to, like you just turn away from him, you know. So and I think we tend to do that with people, with ourselves, you know, like I think since we are kids, babies, like a lot of people put expectations on us and identities. Like I don't know, my baby cries a lot, and you just grow up with that identity and that expectation from you. And like I think we need to like give ourselves the freedom of not put expectation, because then you are just like running towards disappointment all the time, what you said, and anticipation comes with it, because when you put an expectation to somebody or even to yourself, you are expecting a result. So you are not caring about the climb, you are not caring about the process, about the path, about the way, you are just caring about the destination, and that's the anticipation, and that comes with anxiety. And if that way, that path that you are just like anticipating with that expectation doesn't happen the exact way that you want it, then is what you said, like disappointment is there all the time, and you cannot even see the joy, or you just don't remember the joyful moments, or you are upset with God because he didn't do that thing that you were expecting from him, and then you just forget all the good things that he has already done and given to you. You know, so yeah, I think expectation and anticipation, they just steal any kind of joy or peace that you can have in life, basically. And I think we tend to do that because we are afraid of not controlling.
Yeah, I'm thinking about what you said about like you said a lot in that, but what's sticking out to me is when you mentioned like the baby. And like if the baby cries a lot, and then like the saying is like, oh, my baby is difficult, or the baby cries all the time, or this is like, and like you've been saying it the past couple of weeks about like the identities that we put on people or on babies or on, and I'm thinking like maybe the child also then will respond and think like, I'm not good, or I'm trouble, or I'm moody, or like mom's mean. Or something, you know what I mean? Or mom doesn't love me. And I think that when that becomes a thought that's in the mind, I think as we grow up, we maybe take those feelings that we have from our parents or towards our whoever's around with that, and we place it on God, and we place it on the people that we're currently with. Like it's like we might even look at somebody else and be like, yeah, you can't really tolerate me because you don't love me, or you think that I'm too much, you know? But the truth is that maybe we get stuck in those lies that have been like ingrained in us since we're little.
I feel like Matthew Kelly said in one of his many books that some of us we get really stuck in that maybe expectation of who we are or who we were told we were for so many years or whatever. And he says that we just say, oh, this is who I am. And I'm not, and I like, this is just who I am. I'm too much, or I'm whatever. And like, but he says like, that's actually not the case. I think that like, that just makes us, honestly, I believe, less free. Like what I'm thinking of is that expectation maybe is like a sense of control. Mm-hmm. Like we just want to control. I have expectation of myself, or somebody placed this expectation on me, so I have to control it to make sure that I keep that identity, or I idolize that identity. And then to me, anticipation is like freedom, you know, like I know you had mentioned like doing specific maybe prayers, and it's like if I'm just expected to do this, and if I don't, I'm not going to be okay. Mm-hmm. But then there's the anticipation like, no, I can't wait to do my nighttime prayers, and if I forget it or whatever, I don't do it, or I fall asleep, like that's okay, you know, like there's still like freedom in it. But then there's like the sense of joy to do it. So I think expectation versus anticipation is like a control thing versus like of just having freedom in it.
Yeah, I need to clarify when I mentioned anticipation before. In Spanish, anticipation is like when you want to go one step ahead of something, like anticipation. Like it's it has a little bit of like another meaning, and maybe that was confusing because I mentioned it. I use it in another like sense. So I'm clarifying that for that in case.
Oh, that's so funny.
But I yeah, because anticipating for me in Spanish is like is like you go one step forward, like you cannot wait. You are anticipating. You are like go like for example, I'm gonna fail the exam. You are anticipating the result. You need to stop. So just for the listeners to clarify what I explained before.
So it's almost like anticipation for you is almost like afraid. Like you get like there's almost like a fear. I have to do this, this, and this. You're checking your boxes almost to prevent yourself from failing. Wow.
Yeah.
Like almost like a future faking type of thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
Which it could be here too. There could be a connotation like
Yeah.
that here. It just depends, like, I guess, on how you use the word. But I could see it. You did make it fit anyway, even if you're like, even if the language is different, I could still see how it fits.
I almost feel like the I am gonna fail the exam. It's almost like you're cutting yourself. You're giving yourself that wound, expecting that other people. Well, now they can't wound me again. Since I wound myself, they can't wound me. It's almost like, but they can. You could still get hurt. You could still get hurt more because that wound could still be dug deeper. That's why you need to act when you see that wound. Instead of being like, oh, I'm gonna fail that test. You have to trust.
How it's almost like we want to make it so that we can't be successful before we even try because we're afraid that we're not going to be successful. It's wild how many different games the mind can play on us.
Yeah, I mean, if you tell yourself
and also
you're
like
not gonna. Sorry. If
You
you
go,
tell
you go.
yourself you're not going to succeed at something, of course you're not going to. You know, it's like you're giving up. You're giving up hope. You're just giving up, in my opinion. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, I was gonna say something similar. That it's like we are all in this. Like we tend to think negatively, like negative in a negative way. It's not never like maybe I'm gonna pass the exam. It's always usually like I'm gonna fail the exam. So it's just that we don't put just like an expectation, but we usually put it like a negative expectation on ourselves, on the people. We tend to do that. You know what I mean? And I also think that the expectation is usually depending on the result of what others think. Like it's usually not on depending on what God wants from me or he doesn't have an expectation about me, I'm sure, but what he expects from me. No, it's always all the time like what the other expects from me, what the other expects from my work, my results. Like we put the value of this expectation depending on what others think. You know, it's never coming from us. So I think that's what make it negative because we tend to put our thought is like my identity and my value, the expectation on who I am or how worthy I am depend on what the others think about me or depend about how good I am at work or my result on the exam. You know what I mean? And it's curious because yesterday I was in a coffee shop with my friends and one of my friends told me like her cousin was going through a hard time because she was surrounded about a lot of people that were like, you know, like this, like similar, like a fake happiness on this expectation about, okay, now it's trending to go to Pilates at 9 a.m. And then it's trending to go running for I don't know how many kilometers and you put it on Instagram. Now it's trending here, the Strava and all that, you know. So she was feeling so bad because she was not answering correctly to this expectation of her doing that because everyone was doing that. And she felt like she was wrong. She was like the black sheep, you know, because she had all this pressure that she put on herself because she couldn't answer the expectation because she was tired. She doesn't like running. She doesn't whatever. And my friend asked her like, when did you stop like running? Like when did you stop liking it? And she said, I think I just realized that the morning that I woke up and I felt like I had to do it instead of I wanted to do it. And that took my freedom from me. And I was like, woof, I just talked about this in my podcast like last week about instead of doing because you want it, and for me it was big that girl, she told to my friend, like, now I feel more free because if I wake up and I don't want to go running, I don't want to go running, and maybe I just want to sit in the couch and watch a movie. I don't have to, like, she got super tired of the pressure of answering that expectation of society, that what is trending, what you should be doing because you are a young girl, or the expectation that she just put on herself. And now she feels more free because she's like, I don't plan. I just wake up, and if I want to go running, I go running. And if I don't want it, I don't want it. And that's for me what you were talking about, the anticipation, this freedom that came into her life, like, instead of planning, instead of like feeling forced, instead of like the anxiety that she was having every morning because she didn't want to go to that running club. And now she's like, if I want, I want it. If I don't, I don't, and she's happier. So for me, it was like a clear example of what living through expectation can make to you, instead of living with the anticipating, like this wanting, this desire of just like doing it because you feel it and you want it, and that fits your happiness instead of taking it away.
The struggle for me is typically with fights coming up, you have to do this stuff. It is like a certain, like, you kind of have to run, you kind of have to do this, you have to do that to get the actual weight off so you can fight. And I struggled with it before. You gotta go through the motions. It's like you're going through the motions. You get almost angry doing it beforehand. For me, I get like almost downish. Mm-hmm. But during and after, I usually end up having fun. Mm-hmm. And that's how it usually goes for me. I've pretty much drained the training and get the joy out of it. Mm-hmm. And I almost feel like that could also go for like a parental role too. You have to do something. You have to go through the motions. You have to take care of your kids. And I typically find that, I'm sure there's parents who do that, where it's almost like they're just robot parents and there's almost just that to do. I find with my parents, like, of course my mom's fantastic, but I want to actually, talk about my dad a little bit. My dad, when he takes care of us, it's not just like a simple, like, just the guardian and protector and the, all that stuff. No, he also has joy in it. Like, sometimes he acts like a man-child a little bit, but there's fun with it. And he brings that life, that joy into the almost job of being a father, being a parental figure to me and my siblings.
Wow, that was so beautiful.
He'll be so happy to hear that. I think also I think that's exactly what we were imagining, Yvette and James, when you guys were just talking. It's the wanting. Oh, guys, you did it again. You're the best. But it's the wanting to do it versus the I'm doing it just to like check my box. I'm doing it because I'm supposed to do it. Like, I could just going to church, something as simple as like going to church on Sunday. I could remember being like, I have to go to church. It's like my responsibility to go to church, versus like now I'm like, I want to go to church. It makes my week better. It makes me feel better. I feel more synced. I feel like my parts are better. I don't get as agitated. And I think that would be like, if I'm a parent who's wanting my kid to do the right thing, or I want my kid to be successful, I don't want them to do the right thing or be successful because they're scared I'm going to be mad at them. Like, I want them to do the right thing because they feel like it's good for them. They feel good about themselves. They feel like they're performing for themselves, not in overtime, but in like just living, like be alive. I feel like the difference is like be alive when you're seeking whatever it is, whether it's working out. I've been working out for a lot of years now, and there have been times when I didn't feel like I wanted to. There's been times when I've felt like, even when I was sick, I would be like, I have to work out. Like, that to me is checking a box. That's not enjoying the actual like feeling that you get when you work out. After I work out, I want to feel good about it. Like, I want to feel like I accomplished something. I want to feel like I'm proud of myself. I don't want to feel like, oh, that was the worst. I didn't want to be doing it. And I definitely don't want to be feeling worse after. I think that's the difference. When you're doing something for like joy, I think you feel better after. And when you're like just doing it to like check the box or to make everybody else happy, it's different.
And James, I think there's something to be said about when you mention like we have a responsibility, like, you know, Yvette, your friends. Okay, so she's talking about Pilates and running, right? Like those are not responsibilities, right? But being a parent and doing certain things as a parent or in your job or in your own life, like we have responsibilities to do something. And so I think like there's a perspective change on it. You know, it's like we have to accomplish your responsibilities. We can't just say, I'm not going to take my kid to school this morning because I don't feel like it. You know, like there are going to be the mornings that you don't feel like getting up, but you have to go to work, or you don't feel like getting up and driving your kid to school or getting them ready if they're younger and putting them on the bus. Like, yeah, I get that those are like moments that are real, but we can't give up on like, again, like here we go again, balance, you know, finding the joy in those things. So yeah, keep up with your responsibility, but maybe you can shift your perspective on it and look at it in a different way. Or in those other things that we do, have the freedom to say, you know what, I just don't have it in me for Pilates today or running today, but you know, I'm going to try to take that maybe joy that I had there and like put it somewhere else. Or like, I don't know, I just feel like it's like maneuvering things around like almost in your own day for freedom to know like I have to do these certain things, but sometimes I will get to this and sometimes I won't, you know.
I think
that's completely true.
I think it was my grandfather had a quote where it was like, work's not work if you have joy doing it. But that's also obviously I love that quote, but I also feel like, why can't you have joy while working? Have joy like while you're doing whatever job, teaching, I don't know, running a karate class, running a pizzeria. Why can't you have joy doing that? That's what people want to see. That's what makes other people alive, is showing that you're alive.
And what you said, Maurice, about the balance and like don't give up on everything on Pilates or whatever, like I think the difference between her example and being a dad or something like that, it's like she was not like answering, like I think even if you wake up and you are a parent and you have to like drive to school the kids and you are tired and maybe that morning is like, oh, I wish I could just sleep, you know, there isn't an inside desire of you wanting to like, but you are lazy that day, you are asleep, but it's like, okay, it's like a responsibility, like no, you have to do it and there is a balance. But this girl, for example, she was not answering to any like role that she had or to any like responsibility. She was answering to the others' expectation. Exactly. That was the only like reason of she going to Pilates. She sometimes, for example, I love going to Zumba and Pilates, but sometimes there are days that I'm like, oh, I prefer to just like be lazy and but I love it. I just go because it's an answer for my desire, but some days are more lazy or whatever. And that's when like you need to like, okay, no, let's do it. It's my responsibility. It's something that I like to do. But the difference with her is like the only reason that was behind it was the others. So I think you really need to like seeing in what aspects of your life that's happening. Or when I was in USA and I felt that I needed to go back to Spain, but the expectation of my family and everyone were like, no, you should stay in USA because we pay for it and wherever. There was like, but and then I just stopped and I was like, am I answering like to any role? There isn't any inside desire of me wanting to be here, or am I just being lazy or whatever? But it was like, no, you know, like I can, like, it's a desire that I have to go back to Spain because I feel it. And the only reason that will like make me stay will be the other's expectation. There was not other reason. There was not like, you know what I mean? So I think that can be a clue of you knowing when you are doing something, even if there is like there are days that you don't want to, if the reason that is behind, it's like just the others or not, because then it's just like expectation.
I
would
love
fix
that. I love that because it's freedom. It's like freedom in your own, again, it goes back to like that freedom of like knowing who you are, knowing what you want, knowing like this isn't for me. And I think that a huge thing that I think a lot of people struggle with today, because Pilates is super popular right now. It is here also. It's something that everybody's like so into. And I love Pilates. I always have. But I totally hear like your friend, she maybe isn't as into it. You know, it's just not her thing. And she was trying to be who she wasn't in order to make the others happy. And I feel like that we will transfer that to God. We will absolutely turn into, you know, how many times do you look at somebody who you think like has a good relationship with God and you respect it and you want to be them, you know? I wanted to be Teresa of Avila for the longest time because I just love that girl. But I know I'm not her. There's no way I'm ever going to be her. We're very, very different.
I mean, Carlo Acutis isn't Padre Pio.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of finding out, you know, who you are as a person, what your desires are, what your interests are, what your hopes are, what your passions are, you know, and then fulfilling them with God, alongside God. And yeah, this was a fun episode.
The beauty and diversity.
Yeah.
It's like the garden of flowers. Yeah. Like all the different flowers have their own special beauty that's just theirs, you know?
Yeah.
And going through the emotions, I think, is something that struck for me too. I was talking with my physiotherapist and we're talking about work and about, she told me this. She told me like, look, if you ever just give up on your work because you just feel that it's not for you, then you don't have to run to the first thing that appears in your life. Because you are not going through the emotion. You are not giving a space of life, stepping in and moving things. And I was like, that's really like wise at the same time, because we tend to do that, you know, the control, like instead of like just going through the emotions and let it be and let God step in, move things for you, you know, this like desire of just like, okay, I'm moving and I'm taking the next door, like, really like try the next one that I think, because I don't want to walk in this path where I don't see where to go next. So I think that's what happens. Like control, I think it has like a big role in expectation versus anticipating, and so, that's fear.
Yeah,
I feel like a surrendering of control is almost like take a fight one punch at a time, take a run at one step at a time. That was actually a quote from Rocky. I think it might have been from one of the games. I'm not going to lie.
I love that.
Yeah.
All right. Tiny miracles. My tiny miracle is Hannah. She just said like the sweetest thing to me for like Mother's Day. It's not Mother's Day yet, but she said like the sweetest thing to me. And I just really am grateful for her. So Hannah's my tiny miracle. Plus she did a great job on my hair.
Well, my tiny miracle is kind of like a partner tiny miracle. So this week was Teacher Appreciation Week, and our school went all out. And they did teacher superlatives. I can never say that word. And Janine and I won.
We did. We got voted.
We got voted best duo at energy.
Duo energy.
Oh my God. Yeah. We got medals and award. Like it was my high school dream lived out. In
they saw us. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you to our school for voting for us, whoever actually did. Yeah. It was just so fun. So fun. God help Sunny when this recording is over.
Tiny miracle?
My tiny miracle and big one, it was I had this trip to Paris, and when I was like the day before I was traveling, I looked at the weather and it said rains 900% every day, like all day. And I was like so sad because I was like, am I gonna see Paris for the first time raining with an umbrella, gray and cold? And I was wearing my coats and everything. I was ready for the cold. And I sat down on the plane. I was like, okay, I'm gonna just pray. Let's see if that works, whatever, you know. And I pray for, please just give me a little bit of good weather to just enjoy the new city and all that. So can you believe, guys, that the 3 days that I've been there, I was sweating. Yes. It was sunny. I had to put on my sunglasses. It was so beautiful, the city. And it just rained the last day where we spent all the day inside of a palace.
Oh,
so it was kind, and we were all the time like, thank you, God, you are so beautiful, you are so. But we also had a little bit of rain in some days, and there were rainbows, and the rain was beautiful too. So for me, it was also like, you know, like He gives you, but He doesn't. Sometimes it's not just perfect, and that doesn't mean it's not beautiful. Still, because he gave me good weather at the same time. But when it rained, I had so much fun too, because we started running like crazy. And the storm was beautiful too when it happened at one period of the day, you know. But that was also a miracle. Like, I could enjoy the sun and the rain at the same time.
I love this.
I love that.
My tiny miracle has to be that I actually know how to keep my shin splints away now, thanks to the help of, am I allowed to say her name?
Yeah.
Lauren. Thank you, Lauren. I don't know if you're going to watch this, but thank you so much. The information really helped, and I'm finally going to keep those shin splints away.
Yay.
That's awesome.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
I'm going to say thank you, Jeannie, for your lovely message. I know you are hearing the episode, and thank you for all the messages that you are sending me through Instagram with all that much love.
Oh, I love that.
Ginny. She's going to be so happy to hear you say that, Yvette.
We love you, Ginny.
All right.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
And just remember, you don't have to. You should want to.
Amen.
I don't think I got a special one.
Bye-bye, Firefly.
Well, all right. She stole my spot. All right, then.
You can finish it.
Nah.
Later, alligator.
Adios.
I love it. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.